I'm being joined by Scott Coker. Take a couple questions from here within the room. Go ahead, Matt.
Scott, back here. Good to see you again. Talk to me a little bit about the main event. I mean, that was a pretty fantastic fight there.
Yeah, I mean, that was a war, man. Those guys went out there and they brought it. It's really been a while since I've seen a slugfest like that. It was very entertaining to watch, and I think that Mats did a lot of damage on Borix on his legs. Good body shots, good left hook to the head. I mean, he brought it, and Borix to me just had a better night by just maybe a round or two. I thought it was a very close fight up to the fourth or fifth round, but it was very entertaining to watch.
Is it a given that Bortz is next for a title shot, or do you have to wait and see what goes on with McKee and Pitbull?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think he's right in there, and both these guys are ranked number 2. I don't know how that happened, but the media votes, and they both voted that, or they all voted that these two fighters were ranked in the same number. So I think that we're going to wait to see what happens, and but I think Borix is right in the, he's right in at the top.
You had 2 other fights on the main card, really, that could be argued that the winner should be next for a title with those other ones too. What happens to a guy like Phil Davis right now? I mean, does he sit back and wait to see what happens in the title fight to see where he fits into the picture?
Well, listen, we're really excited about San Jose. It's going to be an amazing fight card. Nemkov and Corey not just fight for the title. Nemkov's defending the belt, but also fighting for $1 million. There's a lot riding on the line, tournament champion. So let's see what happens, and then we'll see where they end up on the rankings, and we'll make a decision from there. But I think Phil's right in line. He's fought his way back up to get another shot. In my opinion, he's very close.
And then you have the same situation with Johnny Eblin, who beat the guy who's number 1. So in theory, when the rankings come out next week, Johnny Eblin's going to be right there in that number 1 spot. Is there a case that he should be next to fight Mousasi? You've got a guy just like Austin was, who's pretty early in his career, relatively speaking, to be fighting a champ with as much experience as.
Yeah, I think his stock went way up today. We do have a couple of the guys that we've been talking about with Gegard, but I think Johnny's name is right up in the mix today after his defeat today. I mean, after his win of Salter today.
You don't want to give us those names who you've been talking about for Gegard, do you? I mean, I know he said that he thinks he maybe only has a couple fights left before he decides to hang it up. So.
Gegard says that, and then he tells me I want to fight 3 more times before the end of the year, right? So, listen, he's got a lot of watches to buy, so I think we'll be fine. If you saw the documentary from the last fight, he can't just buy 1 watch, he has to buy 10 watches for his family, so I think we'll be all right.
Talk to me a little bit about going back to Hawaii. You guys have traditionally gone there in December, which is great for people from the cold parts of the States who go over there to cover it in December, but now you're going in April. Talk a little bit about the decision to go there this time of year and what was behind that.
Yeah, you know what? We were planning on going in December of last year, so 4 months ago, but Hawaii was on lockdown. A lot of the country was still in lockdown. It was a COVID situation. It was a protocol situation. So we felt like, look, let's just back it off, take a beat, and when it's time, things open up, we'll go back. If you were there, in December of last year, you had to fill out your name and put all your information in a portal for the state of Hawaii, and it's a lot of red tape. Now, I think starting March 25th, it's wide open, and you can just show up, and there's no red tape to get on the islands. And we felt the timing was right. I think we have a ton of fans in Hawaii. We all love Hawaii. I think our staff can't wait to go to Hawaii. The fighters want to fight in Hawaii. Chris Cyborg was so happy to fight in Hawaii. She was like, I've always wanted to go there and fight. And so, it's an amazing fight card. We're starting the launch of our tournament in the bantamweight division, Horiguchi mix. Man, that's going to be an amazing fight. And then Pettis fighting Stotts, one of his ex-teammates. I'm really, really excited. And then you have Lima McFarland, who's, Miss Hawaii. So
Sure.
It's going to be just a top to bottom, an amazing fight card. We will be announcing on next week the Friday night fights. We will continue with our tradition of doing a Friday night fight at the Blaisdell. It'll be free for the military, and it'll be free for first responders and medical personnel. So we'll get the word out of who's fighting and all the details of that fight this week. But and then we will be on the islands all week doing seminars on base and working with the USO, working with different community organizations, and we're going to bring Royce Gracie and a bunch of great fighters and just get back to the community there and come on, put on an amazing fight show.
Will the other Grand Prix semifinals be part of that event? And have you guys figured out those matchups yet?
Good question. We haven't announced that, but we will announce it probably in another week or so. But the answer is no. The answer is those fighters will probably have to end up fighting sometime in May. We had a decision to make, and we thought about it, and we think it's the right decision. But Magomedov is in Ramadan, so it's a religious time for them to, not fight and not, train, and so we said, okay, that's fine. We'll just wait. We asked everybody if they're okay on the other side of the bracket, and they said they're fine. So we're going to wait till probably May sometime to do that fight.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Scott, you have lots of history with this city. 3 fights with Strikeforce, multiple tent poles with Bellator. What keeps you coming back to St. Louis?
You know what? It's this fight particularly, and all the fights we did from the very beginning. It was actually Jesse Finney inviting us to come here, and he's had such a rich tradition of throwing fights here, and he's still promoting. I think 8-10 fights a year here in the market, and I've always enjoyed working with him and Rob. And when we had a great main event in this fight, we had a date on Showtime, and we needed a venue. I said, Jesse, you gotta put the Bellator hat back on, and you gotta get to work for us. And I go, but the bad news is you only have 3.5 weeks or 4 weeks to put it together. And look what he did. He did a great job, and he's a great promoter. Really, really happy to work with him again.
You made a big splash last year and had a valid claim with having the best light heavyweight division in MMA. When you signed Yoel Romero and Roble Johnson, added them to your roster. Can you share any other plans that you have to gain or maintain the market share that Bellator currently has in the MMA landscape? Yeah,
I mean, listen, I'm really excited about our roster right now. It's the best roster I've ever been associated with in Bellator. And if you think about, look at our 135 bantamweight division. To me, that's the best bantamweight division in MMA. 145, I think we have the best 145 pounder or pound for pound fighter in the planet. And he's our current champion at 145. Then you go to 170. I think, Emosov is a guy that the current champ can fight anybody in the planet. Go to 185. I think Gegard's the man. He's look at the longevity and how many fights that guy's had. He's a veteran. He could, I think on any given night, he beats anybody. And then you go to 205. I think we have the best 205 pound weight class in the planet. And to me, it's just a commitment to, if you're a free agent and you're going to fight out your contract and you're able to negotiate, give us a call, because we're open for business. We're going to continue to grow. And I've always said we're going to grow fighters from the ground up, and we're going to buy free agents from the top down. And that's what makes a great fight company. And we're going to continue to do that.
Don Davis issued a challenge online yesterday regarding co-promoting with possible fight between Harrison and Cyborg, and the loser pays the production costs. Does that sound like?
Who was that?
Don Davis with the PFL.
I don't know. I don't know who that is.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. Well, we'll just keep moving then.
Yeah.
Yancy Medeiros did ask about being on the fight card in Hawaii. Is that something that you would entertain?
I repeat that question. I couldn't hear it, please.
Yancy Medeiros asked about being on the fight card in Hawaii. Is that something you'd entertain?
You know what? I'll tell you. I think Yancy started the Strikeforce, and we have a good relationship with him, and we have a good relationship with a lot of fighters on the island. The only thing is, if you're asking today, right now, we have a lot of fighters on the contract that we need to fight, and we'll probably give it to the fighters that are under current contract. And but if there's room and he's available, why not? I don't mind working with him again.
Last question. Any word on AJ's return?
AJ McKee?
No, I'm sorry, Anthony Johnson.
Oh, okay, sorry. I was like, Anthony Johnson. I talked to him about 3 weeks ago. He's getting better. He's getting healthier. He's not ready to fight by any means, but he's getting his health back together. And I told him, I said, look, life is more important than fighting. And you're a young man. You have a lot to look forward to. So get your health together. And if there's a point where you can turn it on and take it to the next level and fight as a professional athlete, we'll be here. So we'll be waiting. But, take care of your health first. That was the conversation.
Jim?
Yeah, Jim Barcelona, Miami Herald. Great show tonight. Thank you so much taking the time. I'm curious about Cody and Roman. In Fort Lauderdale, Bellator, when you were here, they fought back-to-back, ended both bouts quickly. And then tonight, they fought back-to-back, and again, they ended both fights quickly. What are your thoughts of those two and where you see them going from here?
Are you, and just mention, I couldn't understand the first two fighters you mentioned.
Cody Law and Roman. On the prelims.
Yeah.
From American Top
Yes.
Team. American Top
I got
Team's
it.
two guys.
Yeah, listen, those guys did a great job. And when I think about American Top Team and Dan Lambert, they have an amazing fight camp, a fight gym. And I'm sure you've been there, being in Miami, many times. This guy that facility is unlike anything I've ever seen in my life. And when I was sitting there just watching all these top fighters, I mean, just one after another, all there to train. And Dan told me something when I was there 3 months ago. He said, we don't have classes. Like, there's no classes here. You can't come here and sign up and do jujitsu classes. This 45,000 square foot gym is for professional fighters that want to fight at the top level only. So you have to be invited to or accepted to train there. And if you are, that means you have a shot at one of the top leagues. And that's what's unbelievable. But those guys, continue to deliver. And it's because they have so much talent at that gym. Dan's been doing a great job.
And Scott, where do you see those two fighters in particular going from here?
Well, you know what? I think, Roman had a good win, and I think, both of them had a good win. And I think that, we'll probably go back, and I hate to say this because I say this over and over, but we'll probably go back and reshuffle the deck, and let's see how they rank, how they move up, and we'll sit down with Jane and Mike and determine what happens next for them. But we'll put them in competitive fights. I don't have any names for you here right now, but maybe in another week or so or a couple of days, we'll have maybe some outlook on where they go.
All right, last question here, Jay.
Hey, Scott. Just a quick one from me. As we see things kind of change in the world right now, I know the plan was to go back to Moscow for Fedor in the summer, but is there a contingency plan in place? What would you look at targeting? Could it potentially be Japan or the US?
You know what? It's definitely not going to happen in Moscow this year. We're not going to do Fedor's retirement fight there for obvious reasons. We'll be looking for an alternative site at some point, but we're gonna sit down with Fedor when he comes to the San Jose fight card and see what he's thinking. But we had an amazing show planned in Moscow. I don't even mind telling you guys this, but we originally had approval to do the fight in Red Square, and it was going to be just a great send-off, for the GOAT, in my opinion. But now we have to pivot and create something else that's great, and find another venue and find another, amazing site, because he deserves to have a great send-off, and we'll do it. We just don't know exactly where yet.
Thanks,
All
Scott.
right, thank you very much, Scott.
Thank you.